Good morning, everyone. How are you? We're going to get started in a minute and just checking the level of my microphone. Everything's looking peachy. Perfect. All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm excited to connect with all of you today. I just felt that spark of inspiration, like don't overthink it, just go. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I love you too. Thank you, Anja. All right. So I'll probably give it a couple more minutes. This way people can check in. Croatia's in the building. Hello. Oh, from Montreal, my hometown. Wonderful. Well, welcome. I'm very excited to connect with all of you today. I wish I was posting more regularly, but you guys know that I don't choose. I just follow the internal instructions. That's my only job, is to follow the instructions that I receive from my guidance system. And the rest of the time, I'm not thinking. I'm just being, or I'm connecting to higher dimensions of thought. So deliberately. So yeah, I don't choose. I just, everything is chosen through me. And the more that you follow this higher vibration of what feels good for you and what feels in alignment, what feels in vibrational accord with your essential self, the more that that snowball accumulates snow, it picks up more momentum. And then it's an intelligence that takes over your life. It just tells you what to do, when to do, and the rest of the time you're on vacation. That's how I live my life. It's very nice to live this way because you're constantly blossoming into more and more and more epiphanies. So it's unending in terms of the epiphanies that I've had throughout this journey. It started, I don't know. I mean, my journey started in 2011, but I started living as a dot 5 years ago, where I stopped planning things in advance and I started freeing up space in my life and allowing my mind to be free of thoughts. And then it just started accumulating more and more and more momentum. It's absolutely amazing. So let's begin. Let's begin. My sole intention today is to help you to open up more, to be more vulnerable, to not shy away from confrontation at times. Confrontation can be a very positive thing. My sole intention is to encourage you and to challenge you to continually drop into your heart and to express what's on your heart, to express what's on your mind, knowing that you can't F this up, knowing that you can't do this wrongly. So let's begin. To preface, I want to say that most people are not living completely and utterly in the now moment. Most people, most of us in general, and I'm sure I still have this to a degree, but most of us, we live with these filters. We live with these perceptions, with these beliefs, with these ideologies, with these limitations that we self impose. And these limitations or these limiting beliefs or ideologies, they color every frame of this movie. Every frame. So, a movie is frame by frame. It appears to be a continuous show or a continuous movie, but it's not. It's a frame by frame thing. So, what happens with us is that we color our experiences or we decorate our experiences, uh, unbeknownst to us, through the lens of our own perception, which is directly linked to our beliefs and our how we were raised, our upbringing, our attitudes, all of this. Now, what this does is it cuts us off. It cuts us off from the entirety of the energy that is presenting in any now given moment. Okay, so okay, I'll give you an example because I like to use examples. Let's say that someone betrayed me in the past and I was really hurt by that and I stopped trusting people and believing in people. Whether I know it or not, that particular file is going to lodge itself in my system. And whether I know this or not, it's going to start coloring every scene of the movie that I'm in, every frame of this movie called life. So even if I'm having a good day, there's a file that's deeply stored in my system that's affecting everything that I witness, that's affecting everything that I view in my external world. Now, let's say that I'm going to the store one day and I stumble on someone who looks just like the person who betrayed me. Well, immediately I'm going to have that knee jerk reaction of, oh, right, my walls are going to come up because I'm coloring that frame of the movie or that scene in the movie with my past, with how I was betrayed and how I never really cleared that or released that or healed from that. If I had healed from it, then I would wipe my hard drive clean, right? We're here to continually wipe the hard drive clean. This way we're empty in every moment. Truly, we have to become empty. We have to become the greater awareness, the cosmic awareness. And when you are the awareness, you know that everything that's happening in front of you is just an appearance that's temporary. When you live as this awareness, as the higher self, you see everything as like fish that are jumping out the water and going back into the water. It's like an appearance that comes up and then goes back down. So you're not threatened by any of it because it would be happening whether you were on this planet or not. So when you become this awareness, when you are the awareness of all that is, then everything that's happening within the movie is just a character in the movie. It's just an expression in the movie. You're not threatened by what's happening around you. You're not threatened by what's happening in you or outside of you. Everything collapses into one reality, which is the one dream that we as dreamers are dreaming. So everything becomes an appearance in the greater mind of God or of source. Okay, so a lot of people are fragmented. So a lot of people have unresolved, unprocessed trauma. They carry that trauma with them. Okay. And even if they didn't meet that person that reminded them of the betrayer, that file is still in their system and it's going to, on some level, affect everything that they see. Everything. Because our energy doesn't lie. So if there's something that's unresolved, unfinished, unprocessed within us, then it has to appear in front of us in order to present us with an opportunity to go back into the system to then delete that file through healing, through resolution, through greater understanding of why it happened, and so on and so on. So the universe is always, always going to give us a chance to redeem ourselves or to reverse these impurities that are stuck in the body, that are held in the body based on a previous experience that isn't supposed to dictate our life. But we allow it to dictate our life because we're not wanting to become conscious. We're not wanting to bring the darkness into the light. We're not wanting to become aware of why it's crippling us, of why it's debilitating us, of why our life isn't going as planned. Is because there are still things in our system that are being harbored, that are bleeding into. They're not really bleeding. It's really just a projection. It's like a projection screen. Yes. And so anything you have in your system is like a projection, and it projects itself onto the screen called life. And most people are operating unconsciously. So they never realize that there's something staring in their face that's kind of redirecting them or repointing them inside so that they could delete that file. All right. So I didn't realize I would be talking about this right now. So I want to segue into what I'm here to talk about, but it's all connected. Every future possibility, my friends. Thank you for the donation, by the way. I really appreciate you guys' support and love. I really do, because I'm not someone who sells courses or is like marketing every 2 seconds. I just don't resonate with that format. And some people have had a little bit of a beef with me, like asking for donations at the end of my video, but you guys, I have to make a living. Like I'm not the guy that's going to sell 1,000 courses a day. I just don't jive with that. But if I don't say that I welcome donations, people will not know. So, anyways, I digressed. I want you to start thinking about this. Every future possibility, every future possibility is enfolded in this now moment. Okay? You get to be the programmer of your personalized matrix. You get to be the programmer of your personal reality through intention, through where you place your attention. You get to choose how you're going to play this game called life. Now, that's not to suggest that there isn't God or that there isn't the source or there isn't the universe guiding you. But you do get to carve out the way that you want to play this game, and you get to decide how the universe is going to respond to you. Okay? And if you create your own rules, then God is everywhere. God will show you when you're not being compassionate. God will show you when you're being insensitive. So if you place an intention for your life, then you can rest assured that everything that presents in your everyday life in every moment is in response. It's in response to the game that you've programmed. Okay, you get to be the programmer of your game. I'll give you an example. Let's say that I tell myself, my whole life will be devoted to praying for people. When I'm walking on the street, I see someone suffering, my entire purpose will be to pray for people. That's my game. Well, if I choose to play that game, the universe at large is still going to teach me what's working and what isn't working. That's what I mean by programming your game. Okay. So, this is probably going to be one of my most important videos because I want you to know that the idea that you've been broken or that you're not perfect, this idea that you're broken, this idea that you're not whole, this idea that you're imperfect is the grand illusion. You are perfection in motion. You are wholeness in motion. It's just that we incarnated into a reality that was so fragmented, that was so full of suffering, that we forgot who we were. So we started believing these thoughts that we had. We started believing when people doubted us. We started believing when people would betray us that we did that we caused that. You didn't cause that. You didn't cause your boyfriend breaking up with you. You didn't cause any of it. Okay? Everything is perfect as it is. And you have to believe that. Now, every future possibility is enfolded in this now moment. Okay? A lot of people say to me, well, Phil, I don't know what to do next. You're not supposed to know what's next. Okay? You're supposed to be right here in what's in this physical context or in this physical scene of the movie, but you can still interface and interact with your future vibrationally, emotionally. Everything is here vibrationally. It's not accessible physically yet. And I'll tell you why it's not accessible physically yet. Because you wanted to play a game where you would write a story. And when you watch a movie, there's continuity. Yeah, there's chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. When you watch a season on Netflix, there's episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. You're not going to start at episode 3. That's because there's a story that's being told. There's a story that's being shared. And that's precisely what we're doing as humans on this planet. The construct of time that we're in is what enables us to create stories. So time is not the enemy. Time can be the enemy, depending on your perception, right? You could say that time is killing you and you're inevitably going to die. So you could look at time as your enemy, but effectively, the reason why time was created was so that we could store our life experiences in the construct of time. It's like a database. So every one of us, because we're in this molasses version of reality where everything is slow. It's like walking through molasses. Everything is slow here. This enables us to write a story that will forever live on, that will forever be accessible vibrationally by any human being in any now given moment. Okay, I'm going way too quantum. Okay, so think of this physical reality as a library or a database. Okay, so when we experience life, every emotion that we undergo, every feeling that we have, it gets stored in the database as energy, as a vision, as a intuition. And it can be someone that's not connected to you at all in your physical life, but sometimes you will receive visions, you will receive intuitions. That's because there's a database. That database is full of physical experiences from every lifetime. And it has a feeling, it has an emotion attached to it. And we learn from that. It's like a recipe that's been left behind so that we can continue to blaze those trails, so that we can continue to be pioneers for this world. Okay, so the reason why I always stress the importance of being vulnerable, of being open, of being expressive, knowing that you can't F this up, is because if you wholeheartedly believed, okay, this is where it gets interesting. If you wholeheartedly believed that every single future possibility is interacting with you now through your emotions, vibrationally, then if you always lived with an open heart, and if you always shared what was on your heart vulnerably, then the truth would always be staring at you in the face. So if you believe that you're not broken, if you believe that you are whole, and you decided from this day forth, I'm now going to start living my life vulnerably, sharing every thought that I have that I feel is important. And I trust that by living this way, the entire future is going to be staring at me in my face. Every truth that needs to be revealed to me will be staring me dead in the eye. Okay? Then you would have programmed your life to be a transparent life, to be a life that is void of lies, a lie that is void of distrust, a lie that is void of disinformation. You would live a life of utter transparency. You would collapse every future, every possibility, every past into this now moment. And the truth would always be staring you in the face. Always. Isn't that trippy? To think that the entire universe is enfolded in this now moment, and that the universe is filled with every future possibility, and that you can start to acquaint yourself and build a relationship with the life that you want in every moment by living vulnerably, by expressing yourself openly, and so on and so on. See, most people, going back to the beginning of the video, most people are living in an illusion, in a lie, in a delusion. A lot of people on this planet are living in a state of denial because they don't want to face off with themselves. They don't want to heal that unprocessed trauma. They don't want to deal with their issues. So what ends up happening is they partition off and they live in this delusion. You see it with so many people, right? I'll give you an example. You might have a woman who is anorexic, who has been anorexic since she was 13, and she's digging her heels in, refusing to change, refusing to get help. And now, this is 15 years later, she's 28, 29. She can't understand why she's not meeting a man or why the men she meets aren't interested but it's because she's become skinny as a toothpick. Yes. And she convinces herself, I'm going to meet someone who's going to love me skinny as a toothpick. But the anorexia from the get-go was a control mechanism due to trauma. It was a way for her to control her environment because maybe she felt out of control when she was younger. Maybe her parents divorced when she was younger. Maybe she didn't have a father figure, so she felt a need to control everything, which spilled over into anorexia, into not eating. So that trauma is very much alive, very much alive. It's pulsating with life, right? And she's holding it hostage. She's not wanting to heal. Okay. So in her mind, she's like, well, I don't need to heal. I don't need to listen to people. I don't need to listen to anything. But that trauma is going to color every frame of that movie. And because she's not open to help, because she's not willing to be vulnerable enough to receive help, she's unconsciously going to push away every man she meets. Because people want people who are flexible. People want people who are willing to grow. So she's carrying this trauma with her. This trauma is going to act as a filter. And every person she meets, she's going to test. Are they going to accept me as I am? Are they going to take it? I don't want them to tell me who I am. I don't want them to tell me who to heal. She's constantly going to push people away. And she might say, well, I don't understand why I'm single, is because you're not seeing yourself as perfect as you are. And you're not open to healing. You're not open to feedback. So you're essentially blocking out the entire universe. You're blocking out every future possibility because you're holding on to the past. And when you hold on to the past, you're not present here and now. You're not. You still have a file stored in your system, stored in your database that's distorting your perception of life. And that's ruining every future possibility because you're holding on to your old ways. You're not emptying yourself. You're not being open moment by moment. You're holding on to a past version of yourself, refusing to get help. So you're never living in the now. You're living from the past. And you're blocking out every future possibility. And the universe keeps bringing you all these options, or these not options. The universe keeps presenting you with opportunities to heal yourself, to be more open. Okay? So basically what I'm trying to say to you guys is I invite you to start living very openly, without any filters, without any preconceived ideas, without any image of who you want in your life or what you want in your life, because that's still stemming from control. But if you start opening up, and it has to be two ways, right? Everyone is you. There is no separation. Everyone is you. Everything you do is for the betterment of humanity, not for the betterment of your ego. Yes, not for the strengthening of your ego, but it's for the betterment of humanity. If you live with that intention that the entire universe is here now, and I'm just going to empty myself and be open, then you could rest assured that everything that was in your face was the truth or the non-truth. And then everything that was a non-truth would start to collapse. Everything that was a non-truth would start to disintegrate, and more truth would integrate. Okay, so let me give you another example. So you have a man or a woman, and they're in a relationship. Okay, they're in a relationship, and this man has been playing a lot of mind games with this woman. He keeps stringing her along, saying, yeah, maybe we'll commit someday. I'm not sure if I want children yet, but I'm not sure. I'm not ready to tell you all of that. That loop is going to keep perpetuating. It's like a loop that never ends, because the woman is like crossing her fingers, hoping that the man, it could be a man too, hoping that the man or the woman is going to propose, or hoping that the man is going to be committed to her, or hoping that the man is going to finally tell her that he wants children. Because she's in this finger crossed mentality, she's not in control of her reality. So she's basically at the mercy of this man, because she's not willing to admit to herself, he's not giving me what I need in this now moment. The now moment is all there is. My future is here now. You're either doing love or you're not choosing love. It's that simple. You're either in or you're out. Most people are playing in the gray area because they're all living in a state of denial, right? They're not willing to be honest with their emotions. They want to avoid conversation. Okay. Now, if this man said to her, babe, I love you. And honestly, I don't know about kids yet, but I know that I love you. Then he would be honest enough so that then she can make a decision. But he keeps stringing her along, and she's responsible for that because she's in a disempowered state. Anytime you're in a disempowered state, right, that implies that you think you're broken. That implies that someone is going to save you. That implies that, this person is your lifeline. When you're in an empowered state, then you can wipe out the past and fully know that you are whole here and now. And that by being open, by being vulnerable, every future is going to show itself. Most people take the longer route. They would rather live in a state of denial or avoidance. And then they get strung along. They get misled. But that's on them because they're choosing to live in a state of denial or delusion. It's disempowering. And most people do that based on a past rather than emptying themselves and being here now. So what I'm inviting you to do today, because this is how I live my life. I've been living this way for years now. Okay. I cleared my schedule. I'm living as a dot. Nothing exists in my future. It's all here now. All here now. And when I date somebody or if I'm with my friends, I trust that by being open, that the truth will always show itself to me. Always. Okay. So I'm inviting you to live with an open heart from this day forth. You have the power to delete the past right now. Now, that doesn't mean that the past isn't going to emerge in a now moment where you get triggered, but at least you're being in the now. And the future is like, hey, we need you to revisit this in this now moment. But you have the power today to completely erase the past. Okay. Let me know in the comments if you're willing to try this. Let me know in the comments. I want to hear from you because I want you to believe that you're perfect. I want you to believe that maybe there's a way to cut corners, that maybe just like in those Mario Kart games or these video games, there's like a back alley and then you beat the race because you found like the shortcut. I want you to start believing that there's a shortcut because there is. I'm telling you because I can testify for my own life. Okay. I want you to receive and claim that from this day forth, you are whole. You are perfect as you are. You're perfect. I want you to feel that. You are perfect. Wanting affection is beautiful. Telling someone, hold my hand, is beautiful. Telling someone, babe, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, is beautiful. Telling someone, Phil, I'm worried about my future. I don't know what I'm going to do for a living, is beautiful. It's okay to be raw. It's okay to be completely honest. You were shamed for being honest. You were gaslit for being honest. And you bought into that lie, hook, line, and sinker. And your entire world became distorted. And your entire world, you've been chasing the tail of the dragon, hoping that things will turn around, and they will not turn around as long as you keep coloring your experience with this idea that you have to rectify your past, or that you have to redeem yourself for the past, or that you have to gain a seal of approval from someone. I want you to right now believe that you are whole. That is my entire intention for this video, is to assist you in believing this truth. If you choose it as a truth, you get to program your game. Okay? And what this means is that if you're not open and vulnerable, then you're not going to be in sync with your future. I'm going to repeat that. When you close your heart, rather than to keep your heart wide open, when you do close your heart and you put those walls up by programming your game this way, the universe is going to notify you that you're not in sync with your future, that you're not in sync with your highest potential. Because remember, if you choose to program your game in a specific way, the universe will reflect back to you if you're playing the game right or if you're playing the game wrong, because you've programmed the game. So I'm going to break it down in a very simplistic way. What is the game? How do I play my game? I believe that I'm perfect as I am. I believe that I can share anything that's on my heart with you and that you will not reject me. And that if you reject me, we're not compatible. That if I say to you, hold my hand, babe, that you will hold my hand if you're choosing love. And if you ask me to hold your hand, then I will hold your hand because I'm choosing love. This is how I live my life, my friends. I am Phil. I'm unfiltered. I think that would be a great title for my podcast. I don't have a podcast, but that would be my title for my podcast. I am unfiltered because I am love in motion. I am a walking bundle of love. And there's nothing wrong with what I want to express. There's nothing that with what I want to share. I'm sharing it. And if someone is like, oh, this is scary, they just let me know that they're not choosing love. And that's okay. I'm not going to hold it against them. Okay? At all. I'm also not going to cancel them because I don't do that to people. I'm not going to unfriend them. I'm not going to ghost them. I'm not going to cancel them. My door is open because I am love. Love is open. It's not a door that slams in your face. Love is a door that is open. And when you confidently walk as a bundle of love, you know that nothing can hurt you. You know that nothing can hurt you because your light is so bright that it will repel anything that doesn't have a highest intention for you. And you want to know how? Because when you live this openly, you're living in the highest vibration. And if someone can't handle that level of realness, they're going to go away. They're going to flee. They're going to run for the hills because you're choosing to live in love, as love. Do you see? So imagine you're in a relationship right now and you've been withholding this information. You're like, I don't get why my boyfriend isn't da da da. That's because you're living in a lie. You're not living in the truth. Yeah, you're still feeding the past, thinking that if you behave, the guy's finally going to propose to you. Behave for the love of your life to propose to you? Be cool for the love of your life to propose to you? It's bullshit. It's bullshit. So you've been playing in a lie. It's a fragmentation. Become the puzzle now. Become the puzzle now. And I want you to start believing that if you say to your man or your woman, babe, I love you, and they're not able to say it back, that future is letting you know they're not going to be in your future. Did you follow that? If every future is in this now moment vibrationally, and you say to someone, babe, I love you, and then they can't say it back, and you've been with them for a year, that is the universe telling you through the game that you created, through the game that you designed, that that person isn't supposed to be in your future. Because when the future and the past and the present are all lined up, the truth is in front of you. When they're not lined up, then it's disjointed. Then the feedback that you're receiving is distorted because you're still distorted, because you're still playing in the shadow. You're still living a lie. You think there's something wrong with you when there isn't. The power of communication reveals so many truths. Okay? And this is not from a controlling place, because you'll feel when that click happens, when your heart is finally truly open, when you're loving unconditionally, but you still know what you want out of life. You'll know. You'll know because you don't feel closed off. You don't feel defensive because you're in love with life and you're thankful to every person that's in front of you for demonstrating or reflecting whether or not you guys are the right fit. You're grateful for everything, all of it. So From this day on, please claim it in the comments below if you're ready. I want you to not hold back. Don't drag the past into this. Start here and now. We're wiping the slate clean. The game begins now. The game begins now. And I promise you something, because I've been walking this path for a while. When I'm not 100% honest, even though I'm the one who programmed the game, God is still in charge. So God will show me, Phil, you just shut down. Phil, open up again. Phil, open up again and again and again and again. But if you're committed to living with an open heart, with that intention of unconditional love, then the game will be to keep your heart open at all times. And when you close your heart down, the universe will notify you. God, source will notify you. It's going to say, hey, you're not being vulnerable right now. Be vulnerable. Be open. Be open. That's how it works. So no matter what game you choose to design or create, the universal law, the universal rules still apply. It's just that you're going to learn through that framework that you've created. Does that make sense? So I want you to start trusting that the entire universe is here now. Okay? And we want everything to be harmonized in this now moment. And that doesn't mean we cancel people or unfriend them. It just means that, let's say you disagree with me about something, then that's fine. It's completely okay. I'm not going to cancel you. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say that we've been dating for 3 weeks and I really have a lot of strong feelings for you. And I say, hey, I really have strong feelings for you. How do you feel about me? If they're like, well, I'm still trying to figure it out, I'm not going to cancel that person. I just know that the vibration of my future isn't staring me in the face because I am the future. I am everything. And that's okay. I'm not going to take offense to that. I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm grateful because the feedback through the game that I've created through this framework is showing me what's real and what isn't real. And the people who are compatible with you will also choose love. Why wouldn't someone choose love? Why wouldn't someone choose transparency all the way? Of course we would. Because it's either love or it isn't. It's either love or it's fear. It's either honesty or it's dishonesty. To me, there is no in between. Being honest is like, Phil, I'm not sure if I've developed feelings for you, but I want to keep exploring this because I think there's something here to be explored. That's honesty. And most of the time, that stuff sticks. And you're like, cool, thank you for being honest, because you're living a transparent life. But if you're trying to open up to your husband, and every time you try to open up to your husband, you're like walking on eggshells and you're afraid of opening up to him because you know he always shuts down, and you're choosing to play this game, the game of unconditional love, he's not your person. Your person will look at you and be like, babe, I'm scared to have this conversation, but I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to do the work. Like, how long are you going to put off your happiness? How long are you going to keep postponing your destiny? People die without ever having actualized their full potential because they choose to believe that they're not whole and that, oh, maybe I need to like not open up to my husband. Maybe I'm nagging him. Maybe my needs aren't as important. So they get tied up in this false reality of these lies they tell themselves based on shame and based on guilt and based on fear. You should never walk on eggshells around anyone. Anyone. You should be yourself all the time. And the people who will love you unconditionally are going to show up in service to you, and vice versa. You will show up in service to them because you're choosing to hold hands with love. You're choosing to interlock with love. But I'm not saying this game is easy. When I started playing this game, I noticed how often my heart would close. right? Like someone would say to me like, "I really wanna be friends," or whatever, and I would be like, "Da, da, da," and I would put up a wall, and I'm like, "Phil, you're not being open right now. Be open." So the game isn't easy, but it's always going to challenge you to open up your heart more and more and more, and then eventually something happens where it just stays open. It just stays open. Thank you for that, Anja. Thank you, Czar. I really appreciate you. So I hope this helps you guys. I want you to start picturing that every future possibility is vibrationally here now, and that if you live openly, then every future is in front of you. Every future is in front of you. It's either choosing you or it's not. And if it doesn't choose you, it doesn't mean it's not going to be in your life. It just means it's not choosing you in accordance with what you desire. So thank you guys. And if you would like to donate, I'm only going to say it once. My link is feelgoodlife.com/donate. I never expect donations, but I do appreciate them. And I will speak to you guys soon. Take care.